distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me in welcoming to ESCAP Hall His Excellency, Mr. Saksayam Shitchop, Minister of Transport, the Royal Thai Government, and Dr. Amida Salsia Ali Shabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the sixth session of the Committee on Transport is about to start. Kindly note that remote simultaneous interpretation of the proceedings is provided by the United Nations for the purpose of facilitating communication in light of the fact that there are 6 official languages of the United Nations, 4 of which are used at ESCAP. Participants are requested to be mindful of the additional difficulties experienced by interpreters when working in remote mode and of the increased likelihood of disruptions in the audio feed to the interpreters. Only the speech or intervention in the original language is authentic and constitutes an authentic record of the proceedings. In case of any inconsistency between the interpretation and the speech or intervention in the original language, the latter shall prevail. In addition, interpreters servicing remote meetings cannot be held liable for interruption of service, pixelation, freezing or loss of visual input, partial or complete loss of audio, audible artifacts, unauthorized access to personal or confidential data, leaking of information due to inadequate soundproofing and/or data loss. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It is now my honor to invite Mr. Ren, Director of the ESCAP Transport Division, and the Secretary of the Committee to call the session to order. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th session of the Committee on Transport. It's a pleasure to be with you. To open this session, please join me in welcoming Ms. Amida Salsia Ali Shabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and His Excellency Mr. Saksayam Shitchop, Minister of Transport, the Royal Thai Government. Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary, and thank you, Your Excellency, for your presence here today. Without further ado, I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Amida Ali Shabana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, to deliver the opening statement.
Excellency Mr. Saksayam Shitchop, Minister of Transport of the Kingdom of Thailand, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and to the 6th session of the Committee on Transport. Sustainable regional connectivity lies at the heart of advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, a key driver of enhancing economic growth, jobs creation, and cooperation across all levels in Asia and the Pacific. Yet, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is changing the mode and nature of regional connectivity. Notably, regional connectivity agreements such as the Asian Highway Network, Trans-Asian Railway Network, and dry ports have been instrumental to facilitate cross-border connectivity during these unprecedented times of COVID-19. I acknowledge the commitment of member states in scaling up digitalization and undertaking concrete efforts along the Asian Highway Network to ensure uninterrupted cross-border freight transport since early 2020. Interruption of freight movement along the ASEAN Asian Railway Network have also been limited. The operations of maritime ports have continued during the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, during this ongoing socio-economic crisis, several member states became parties to the Trans-Asian Railway Network and Dry Port Agreement. Since outbreak of this pandemic, member states have been actively sharing their best practices and lessons learned in preserving transport connectivity and putting forward concrete ideas and proposals on promoting contactless and seamless connectivity. This solidarity remains our greatest strength and pays rich dividends in overcoming the economic and supply chain shock of this crisis. As per call of the Commission resolution on strengthening cooperation to promote the conservation and sustainable use of the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development in Asia and Pacific, we have scaled up maritime connectivity work to complement land transport connectivity. We are giving special attention to the vulnerabilities of the small island developing states or SIDS. By anchoring regional connectivity, there is a real opportunity to transform transport systems and services to follow a low carbon development path, increase the share of clean energy, and adopt innovations and emerging smart transport technologies to improve environmental sustainability in Asia and the Pacific. I hope that this partnership and proposal would foster long-term recovery from COVID-19 induced crisis. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 pandemic has taught us the importance of mainstreaming social, economic, and environmental consideration into sustainable transport system in Asia-Pacific region. Today, member states clearly recognize the significance of emphasizing innovative policy priorities in transport sector, including shift freight transport to more sustainable modes, improve overall sustainability of urban public transport system, tackle transport emissions, reduce road fatalities, and address social aspect of transport and mobility. With this background, allow me to highlight 3 policy priorities for your consideration and further guidance. First, review and feedback on the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1, 2017-2021. This is the penultimate year of the implementation, so there may be a need to realign the transport connectivity efforts in the final year of implementation. Second, share experiences in preserving supply chain, environmentally sustainable transport system, and mobility. The committee provides an important opportunity to identify ways to enhance resiliency and inclusivity for addressing cross-cutting issues in regional transport sector. Furthermore, our region needs to demonstrate renewed commitment and actions on reducing road crashes and fatalities and support the implementation of the recent General Assembly resolution on improving global road safety, and to prepare a plan of action of the second decade of action for road safety 2021-2030. Third, provide recommendations on defining priority areas for formulation of the new Regional Action Plan 2022-2026 and guidance to the Secretariat on the preparation for the 4th session of the Ministerial Conference on Transport to be organized in 2021. The committee's guidance would enable the region to effectively address environmental, social, and economic demands of the transport connectivity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that through your active participation and deliberations, the committee will identify ways to develop sustainable transport policies and how ESCAP can best support member states in building back better from crisis through regional cooperation in Asia and the Pacific. ESCAP stands ready to further leverage partnership with the UN system, regional development organization, sub-regional institution, and multi-stakeholders. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a very successful committee session.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Mr. Saksayam Chichop, Minister of Transport of the Royal Thai Government, to deliver his opening statement.
Executive Secretary, distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to preside over the opening session of the sixth session of the ESCAP Committee on Transport, which comes at a critical time when our region faces significant challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic. With the transport sector being one of the hardest hit, and our collective efforts to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development now face strong headwind. Excellency, distinguished delegate, in September 2019, the Royal Thai government joined the international community at the SDG summit to adopt the political declaration of the high-level political forum on sustainable development, convened under the auspices of the General Assembly. The declaration pledges to make the coming decade one of action and delivery of the Sustainable Development Goal. Since then, Thailand has been gearing up its effort to achieve sustainable development. Under the 20-year Thailand Transport Systems Development Strategy from 2018 to 2037, Thailand had established a long-term strategic plan for transport development, focusing on enhancing its efficiency, green and safety, and inclusivity with utilization of innovation and more efficient management techniques. To achieve Sustainable Development Goal 9, the Royal Thai government had rolled out long-term plan to promote transport infrastructure integration by implementing a number of mega projects, including the expansion of the double-track middle gauge railway system, the expansion of the Lam Chabang deep sea port, and the development of additional dry port, inland container depot, and border logistics park across the countries. Despite the challenges faced from the COVID-19 pandemic, Thailand continues to strive for further programs in regional transport connectivity. The ministry plans to study new initiatives, including the motorway and railway master plan (MRMAP) concept, which integrate motorway and double-track middle gauge railway system toward completing logistic network for ASEAN community, connecting local manufacturers to international markets, improving urban planning, and providing safer transport network. Moreover, the land bridge between the Gulf of Thailand at Chumphon and the Andaman Sea at Ranong is another highlight initiative aiming to provide time and cost-saving transport option to international trade. Thailand is on the front line of action to achieve SDG 13. On climate change, the Royal Thai government is committed to the reduction of greenhouse gas emission by 20% within 2030. To this end, intensify measures to facilitate and encourage the use of alternative fuels, CNG, and electric vehicle, public bus, and the use of public transport are being put in place by the government. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, to improve urban mobility for the public to meet SDG target 11.2. The government plans to expand, improve, and integrate public transport. The long-term development plan from 550 km mass rapid transit system in Bangkok metropolitan area had been proposed and aimed to finish by 2030. The network will consist of mass rapid transit lines, commuter lines, airport rail link, and feeder lines. Thailand also attaches great importance in ensuring universal accessibility for the elderly, disability, and children, strong the implementation of universal designs. Significant emphasis has been placed in Thailand in achieving SDG target 3.6. On road safety, the minister aimed to provide safer road network by installing newly invented rubber fender barrier RFB and rubber guidepost RGP, prioritizing on the high accident rate route approximately 1,282 kilometers throughout the country during 2020 to 2022. According to the project, Korea Automobile Testing and Research Institute, K3, had improved that RFB help reducing the impact of collision and preventing the chain of serious injury after collision. Last but not least, as we move toward the digital society, Thailand also stresses the importance of innovation, particularly the use of emerging technology to keep smarter transport system. The minister planned to launch pilot project on multi-lane free flow electronic toll collection system for motorway and expressway to improve traffic flow during rush hour and solve traffic congestion at toll gate. Excellency, distinguished delegates, in this connection, I am pleased to note that the action that Thailand is implementing toward sustainable transport continue to be very much in line with ESCAP Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific. Rest assured that we shall continue to work together with you, Madam Excellency Secretary, and other ESCAP members in implementing the current as well as future regional action program for the business of the region and beyond. On behalf of the Minister of Transport of the Royal Thai Government, I now declare the sixth session of the Committee on Transport open. I wish you very success in your deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, for your statement and for setting the tones of our deliberations. Distinguished delegates, I understand that His Excellency is called by other pressing duties and has to leave us. So, Excellency, on behalf of all the delegations, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you and your accompanying staff for taking time to open this session with an enlightening speech. So let us give His Excellency a round of applause. Distinguished delegates, as the chair of the fifth session of the Committee on Transport was not available to attend this session, the Secretariat will preside over the election of officers. According to the rules of procedures of ISCAP, the Committee on Transport will be invited to elect a chair and two vice chairs from its members. Before I invite delegations to elect the Bureau, some quick reminders for those joining us via the e-conferencing platform Kudo. To request for the floor, kindly click on the Request to Speak button. When your request is accepted by the Secretariat and you are called upon to take the floor, kindly click the mic on and camera on buttons on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Kindly release the mic when you have completed your intervention. The Secretariat will be monitoring the messaging function in Kudo, the icon for which is on the right-hand side bar. However, all substantive questions and interventions should be raised through your delegation by using the Request to Speak button only. For technical issues related to Kudo, you may reach out to the operator by clicking on the Operators tab under the messaging icon and typing your message there. To select the preferred UN language, the drop-down menu is available on the lower left of your screen. And finally, to prevent echoes and interference, please ensure all other devices connected to Kudo in the same room are turned off. I now have the pleasure to invite delegations to elect a bureau made up a chair and two vice chairs. Do I see any delegations ready to propose nominations for these positions? I recognize the distinguished delegate from Indonesia in the room. Please, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, dear Mr. Ren. Taking into account the importance of this sixth session of the Committee on Transport, considering the experience and seniority of the delegation, and at the same time keeping in mind the need for balanced geographical representation, I have the honor to propose the following distinguished delegates for the Bureau. For the position of Chair, Mr. Bat Erden, Vice Minister, Ministry of Transport, Mongolia. For the positions of Vice Chairs, Ms. Roshan Resbut-Latova, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Kazakhstan to ESCAP, and Ms. Suzila Binti Muhammad Sidek, Minister and Permanent Representative of Malaysia to ESCAP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Indonesia. So the nominations are Mr. Yalasuren Erden, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Road and Transport Development, Mongolia, for the position of Chair. For the positions of Vice Chairs, Ms. Roshan Yesbalatova, Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Kazakhstan to ESCAP, and Ms. Suzila Muhammad Sidek, Minister, Permanent Representative of Malaysia to ESCAP, Embassy of Malaysia. Are there any other countries that wish to take the floor? I recognize the delegation of Bangladesh in the room.
Dear Mr. Ren, I have the pleasure to second the nomination for the Bureau as proposed by the distinguished delegate of Indonesia. I am confident that with their collective experience, knowledge, and wisdom, they will be able to guide this session through its deliberations to a successful completion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Bangladesh. Would any other delegation wish to take the floor? I recognize the delegation of Thailand.
Thank you very much, dear Mr. Len. Thailand would like to second the nomination of the Bureau just proposed by the delegation from Indonesia. I'm sure that the Bureau, with their collective wisdom and experience, will guide the deliberation of the committee to a successful conclusion. We will extend our full support to the Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Thailand. Would any other delegations wish to take the floor? I see none. So with that, I take it that the floor has unanimously elected the following distinguished delegates as the members of the Bureau. Mr. Jalasuren Bat Erden, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Road and Transport Development, Mongolia. Ms. Roshan Yesbalatova, Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Kazakhstan to ESCAP. Ms. Suzila Muhammad Sidek, Minister, Permanent Representative of Malaysia to ESCAP, Embassy of Malaysia. So let's congratulate the members of the Bureau through a round of applause. I now invite Mr. Bat Erden, the chair, to take the floor.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for the confidence placed in me to serve as your chair and the great honor you have bestowed on my country and on me. Together with honorable vice chairs, we shall endeavor to do our very best to discharge the responsibilities of serving as your bureau with the support of the ESCAP Secretariat. Given the exceptional circumstances of this committee session, I would call upon the Vice Chair, Ms. Raushan Yuspolatova, Ambassador of Kazakhstan to Thailand, to physically chair the meeting on my behalf at ESCAP Hall. This would facilitate deliberations and the work of the Secretariat. The members of the Bureau and I shall do our best to ensure that this Committee on Transport achieves its objectives and reaches a successful conclusion. Thank you.
Distinguished colleague, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to step in at the request of His Excellency Mr. Bat Erdene, and I'm looking forward to work with you all and make this a successful committee session. Given the short time we have, what we have for our program, without further ado, let us begin with the adoption of our agenda. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let us now turn to agenda item 1C on the adoption of the agenda as presented to you on document SCAP/C/ST/2020/L1/Rev1 dated 27 October 2020. And now I invite any comments on the agenda from the floor. None? Okay. I see none, and the agenda is contained in document SCAP/CTR/2020L1 is adopted. Okay, before we move on the next agenda item, I would like to give the floor to the Secretariat for some important announcement. Mr. Ren, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, the sixth session of the Committee on Transport is organized as a hybrid meeting to ensure the safety and well-being of all delegates during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as due to ongoing travel restrictions in many countries in the Asia-Pacific region. So while we have a few delegates joining the session physically here at the United Nations Conference Center in Bangkok, the majority are joining us through the e-conferencing platform Kudo or via YouTube. So under these circumstances, this session of committee has been condensed to two hours session per day over 2 days, which is roughly half the amount of time we usually have for our committee sessions. We therefore kindly request for your support as we move forward with the agenda, to tailor your interventions to issues for discussion or action only, and to keep your interventions to no more than 3 minutes. The Secretariat will assist the chair in keeping time. A timer will be displayed on the screen which will count down the 3 minutes. And you will also be alerted when your 3 minutes are up and will be asked to wrap up your intervention. Thank you for your accommodating this request so that we can give as many countries as possible the opportunity to speak. To maximum time for discussion, the Secretariat conducted informal virtual consultations in advance of the session to allow optimal use of time during the session itself. These were held from 27 to 29 October 2020. The Secretariat wishes to thank all participants of the informal consultation. The outcomes of these consultations are available on the website of the committee. Regarding the report for the 6th session, only key recommendations or decisions made during the session will be captured in the report to be considered for the adoption on the final day of this committee session. A summary of proceedings will be captured separately in a chair's summary to be made available after the committee session and annexed to the report. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ren, for the information. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now take up agenda item 2. Review of the implementation of the Regional Action Program for the Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1, 2017-2021. Given a compressed schedule for this meeting, we ask for your support to tailor your intervention mainly to issues for discussion or action, and to keep your intervention is no more than 3 minutes. Given the technical limitation of conducting the community through the virtual platform, and in view of mandate and operational requirement of the committee, priority will be given to the members, associate members, and permanent observers of the Commission. Limited opportunity for intervention will be available for observer organization, intergovernmental organization, and other depending on availability time. Thank you for this attention for these notes. And let me now turn to agenda number 2, item 2, on review of the implementation of the Regional Action Program for the Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1, 2017-2021, as presented to you in document SCAP/CTR/2021 and SCAP/CTR/2018 INF. And now I would like to invite the Secretariat of Transport Division to introduce the agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I am pleased to introduce document under agenda item 2 and its info document, the review of implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1. Next, please. Since the adoption of the Regional Action Program at the 3rd session of the Ministerial Conference on Transport in December 2016, the Secretariat has been actively conducting activities in all 7 thematic areas outlined in the Regional Action Program, in close cooperation with the Commission members, associate members, and development partners. Next, please. First, in the area of transport infrastructure connectivity, under the joint effort of member countries, the region's transport infrastructure network has been further expanded. To date, there are 30 parties to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asian Highways Network, 20 parties to the Agreement on the Trans-Asian Railway Network, with the most recent ratification from Turkey in June 2019. 16 parties to the Agreement on Dry Ports, with the recent accession from Laos PDR in November 2019 and Azerbaijan in April 2020. Myanmar has also ratified to the same agreement in September this year. In 2019, the Secretariat convened 3 working group meetings, which adopted a number of amendments to the route of the highways and railway networks, as well as the revised list of dry port. A policy segment was also held with the working group on Trans-Asian Railway. Next, please. Second, in parallel to promoting regional transport infrastructure connectivity, the Secretariat also conducted a number of activities to promote regional transport operational connectivity. Among others, the Secretariat continued to facilitate the implementation of the Intergovernmental Agreement on International Road Transport along the Asian Highway Network. The Secretariat had also launched a database of bilateral and multilateral agreements on road and railway transport, and published its Transport publication, The Review of Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, addressing the challenges for freight transport. Despite significant progress made in improving transport operational connectivity in the region, an unprecedented scale of disruptions was seen in 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. With the aim of supporting member states in ensuring continuous transport operational connectivity, the Secretariat organized virtual meetings to review national policy responses to the COVID-19 pandemic along the Trans-Asian Railway network. Next, please. Third, to work towards promoting Euro-Asia transport connectivity, the Secretariat is implementing a project connecting transport infrastructure network in Asia and Europe in support of interregional sustainable transport connectivity, and published a study on a comprehensive planning of the Eurasian transport corridors. The Secretariat also organized inter-regional expert group meeting on transport connectivity between Asia and Europe, and a joint consultation between ECE and ESCAP member states on sustainable transport connectivity between Asia and Europe. Next, please. Fourth, to improve transport connectivity for countries with special needs, the Secretariat organized a capacity building workshop on the use of new technologies for transit transport facilitation in Central Asia, and prepared a draft study on developing a digital freight platform for the completion of regulatory requirements in international road transport for LLDCs in Central Asia. The Secretariat also organized a regional workshop on mainstreaming the maritime sector in the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework in August 2019, and included a chapter on transforming maritime shipping as part of the UNESCAP theme study. Next, please. Fifth, sustainable urban transport is one of the important areas highlighted in the 2030 agenda. In response to the concerns about urban transport, the Secretariat continued to promote the Sustainable Transport Index, SUTI in short, for Asian cities, with a view to help member countries to achieve SDG 11. The 2020 version of SUTI has been updated to include a component on impact of COVID-19 pandemic on mobility. The Secretariat also preparing a study on development of sustainable urban transport in Asia-Pacific region to be discussed at the regional meeting as a follow-up to the Khabarov Conference on City and Transport Safety, Efficiency, and Sustainability held in 2017. Recognizing the role of ITS in addressing urban transport challenges, the Secretariat organized expert group meeting and regional meeting on intelligent transport systems, development and operation for sustainable transport system in Asia and the Pacific, and published a transport and communication bulletin under the theme Intelligent Transport Systems. Next, please. Sixth, to promote rural transport connectivity to wider network, the Secretariat organized an expert group meeting on enhancing rural transport connectivity to regional and international transport network in July 2019, and published a monograph series on enhancing rural transport connectivity to regional and international transport network in Asia and the Pacific. Next, please. Last but not least, the issue of improving road safety was reiterated by the General Assembly Resolutions 74/299 on improving road safety, under which the period 2021 to 2030 has been proclaimed as the second decade of action for road safety. Under this theme, the Secretariat published 2 study reports on strategies to tackle the issue of impaired driving and speed, and organized a regional seminar on tackling these issues. A transport and communication bulletin for the Asia and the Pacific was also published under the theme Improving Road Safety. Furthermore, the Secretariat also led the implementation of the United Nations Road Safety Fund project, strengthening speed management in the Philippines with Global Road Safety Partnership. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, your long-standing support is indispensable to the progress mentioned above. Please allow us to express our sincere gratitude to all of you, the contributor, the donors, including China, the Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, and the Islamic Development Bank, for the kind and generous support. Transport is mainstreamed into a number of sustainable development goals under 2030 agenda. The implementation of the Regional Action Program is crucial to support the region to achieve its sustainable development goals. The Secretariat is fully aware of the challenges ahead of us and will continue to concentrate our mind on the implementation of the Regional Action Program. We look forward to having your continuous support and even closer collaboration with all of you. Next, please. Finally, the committee may wish to review the activity described in the document and provide further guidance to the Secretariat on future activities to support the implementation of the Regional Action Program. Representatives are also invited to inform the committee on progress at relevant activities at national level, regional level that contribute towards achieving sustainable transport connectivity in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Samat, for the introduction. And now I would like to invite any comments on agenda item 2 from the floor. We only have approximately 1 hour for conclude this item, and I request the delegation to be mindful of the time. As we agreed, it will be 3 minutes. To maintain order and for delegation to be ready to take the floor, when I call on the speaker, I will also announce the delegation next in line. Okay. I would like, okay, we have a China on online, please.
China, could you unmute the microphone? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me? OK.
Yes.
谢谢主席。首先，您当选为这个本届会议的主席。中国感谢 ESCAP 为推动区域行动方案第1阶段实施所做的工作，对秘书处2018年以来与成员国密切合作，促进亚太地区互联互通取得的成绩表示赞赏和祝贺。中国一直大力支持 ESCAP 区域行动方案。近年来，我们围绕方案开展了大量的工作。我国的基础设施网络基本形成，综合交通体系不断完善，运输服务能力大幅提升。 去年，我国提出将境内10条亚洲公路网潜在路线转为正式路线，为加强亚太地区基础设施互联互通，做出了积极的努力。下一阶段，我国将更加注重质量效益，着力优化运输结构，建立更加安全、便捷、经济、绿色、高效的现代化、高质量综合立体交通网络。我们期待于 SCAP 成员国主导，为建设亚太区域高质量的交通体系，为实现2030年可持续发展历程做出更大贡献。
Thank you, China, for your statement. And next. You have another? Don't have another? Okay. Who's next? Now we have Australia. Please, Monash, Australia. University, yeah.
Madam Chair, this is Ravi Ravitharan from Monash University, Institute of Railway Technology in Australia. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we congratulate you again on your appointment. I actually note the 2030 agenda on sustainability transport and concur with the sustainable and safety identification. I would like to highlight the importance of intelligent transport, especially under pandemic conditions, where you can use the normal railway vehicles to condition monitor and not require human to really go and monitor the conditions. And this is one of the areas that has been presented in the last session in December 2019 at the UNSCAP Transport Committee meeting. And I would like to just highlight that particular aspect, which Australia is leading the way and conducting significant improvements. The other aspect that I would like to highlight also the sustainability and using recycled materials in transport environment. Once again, this is an important aspect which should be noted and utilized in your future discussions, and if possible, promote this aspect of it. When I say recycled material, the curbside collection of materials that can be utilized again, including in transport railway track network, including sleepers and other possibilities can be explored, which is also, again, Australia is taking some lead in this aspect. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Australia, for your statement. And now I would like to invite Tajikistan.
The distinguished delegates from Tajikistan, could you please unmute the mic? We cannot hear you. Thank you.
Do we have any delegation from the floor? Okay, maybe we will try one more Tajikistan. No, no connection. Okay. India, please.
Thank you for the floor, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I take this opportunity to congratulate the Chair and the Vice Chairs on the election to this August committee. Madam Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have noted the background document prepared by UNSCAP on review of the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific for Phase 1. We understand that introduction of new technologies and necessary regional standards can further improve regional connectivity. In this connection, India is actively implementing and promoting digital interventions, including adopting the use of digital payment methods in the transport sector, thereby facilitating delivery of services to citizens. Capacity building can effectively enhance transport logistics services in the region. It is pertinent that countries with special needs be assisted in development and implementation of new and innovative policies and framework to further the cause of sustainable transport connectivity with due inclusion of rural and urban and road safety measures. We also note the efforts of the Secretariat in organizing regional capacity building workshops on urban mobility and sustainable urban transport index, and for conducting advisory services and consultation meetings in the region. Road safety is an issue of concern, considering its magnitude and gravity and the negative impact that it bears on the economy and public health, particularly in countries with low incomes. India has taken a number of steps to address the concerns of road safety, including promoting awareness, establishing road safety information database, encouraging safer road infrastructure, including application of intelligent transport, enforcement of safety laws, and related measures. We believe that improvement in rural connectivity can help in increased connectivity of villages with high adoption of public transport. We also believe that infrastructure network needs to address all types of connectivity, be it urban to urban, urban to rural, rural to rural. India has implemented multiple schemes to strengthen rural connectivity in the country. Therefore, rural connectivity and improving road safety are important aspects mentioned in the background note in order to achieve the relevant SDGs. Madam Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a well-acknowledged fact that the role of transport connectivity in empowering people and ensuring inclusiveness and equality in Asia and the Pacific is significant. The Government of India continues to implement a number of initiatives to strengthen its road transport connectivity with neighboring countries, particularly in South Asia and Southeast Asia, by way of development of road transport infrastructure, negotiating bilateral and regional motor vehicle agreements, and promoting initiatives for standardization of transport systems. The Bangladesh-Bhutan-India BBIN Motor Vehicle Agreement and India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway Agreement are two big steps to improve the regional transport connectivity within neighboring countries. The rail transport output between India and the neighboring countries has been constantly increasing over the years. The rail traffic between India and Bangladesh and India and Nepal has considerably increased over the recent years. Besides, to improve people-to-people contact with neighboring countries, India has facilitated operation of a number of bus services between India and Bangladesh and between India and Nepal on a number of routes. I thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, India, for your statement. Now I would like to invite Philippine. After Philippine, Timor-Leste.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone. I hope I'm coming in clear. The Philippines is actually pleased to participate in this meeting, very important meeting of UNESCO, Committee on Transport, and we highly commend the committee on its efforts to bring together honorable representatives of the member countries. And we are pleased to share our inputs and insights to contribute to the review of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity. The Philippines considers the economic development is hinged on strengthened regional connectivity, and we believe that our continued efforts to plan, develop, upgrade, and operationalize transport infrastructure networks are geared towards our goal for far-reaching progress. It is quite challenging for the Philippines as an archipelagic country, which is composed of more than 7,000 islands, to bring about seamless transport connectivity, especially for domestic and international supply and logistic chain. Port operations are being strengthened in the island provinces across the country. Rail systems are also recognized to be vital, especially in rapid urbanizing areas across the archipelago. We are doing our master plan to build bridges across the major islands, which previously are deemed impossible in the past, but we are now building long-span inter-island bridges to connect the major islands, and this is now becoming more attainable. Again, we are committed to strengthen the development of the Asian Highway Network, and we look forward to discussing with the Committee on Transport and other member countries to further strengthen our initiatives in the succeeding meetings with other Asian countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippine, for your statement. Now I would like to invite Timor-Leste, please, representative.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you for the time. And I would like to also congratulate for your nomination as a chair. It is a great pleasure for me to speak on behalf of the Minister of Transport and Communication of Timor-Leste. The competence of the minister is to execute policy regulatory programs in the area of transportations of land, air and maritime sector, as well as regulating the communication sector. These competences are well defined under the Decree Law number 6, 2019, as the organic law of the Minister of Transport Communication. As the government department, our program is based on the Strategic Development Plan agenda towards 2030 to achieve sustainable development, as articulated in our priority objective in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which has been adopted into a roadmap of the government resolution number 45/2017 that approved implementation method for all UN SDG goals. As a result, we have adopted our transport sector master plan that will guide our investment for the land, air, and sea transportation. Timor-Leste government has initiated a major port terminal construction and international airport undertaken with the regional port infrastructure development towards 2021 and 2022, while enhancing domestic land connectivity with transport terminals in the country. In addition, we also strengthening our trilateral cooperation with our partners such as Indonesia and Australia in the area of land, sea, and air transportation. Currently, we are in the stage of market formation in the country through facilitating construction of land transport terminal to strengthen domestic transportation connectivity from rural areas to national market, as well as the registration license inspection of vehicle will implement according to the standard to ensure road safety protection of the environment, improving customer service level in all areas of the operation. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Timor-Leste. Now I would like to give a floor for representative of Thailand.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The distinguished delegate. Thailand wish to extend our appreciation to the Secretariat for the comprehensive review provided in the document and the effort to achieve the implementation of the Regional Action Program Phase 1 with the adoption agenda and sustainable development goals. Thailand has committed to achieve a more sustainable, reliable, and resilient transport connectivity. Thailand Long-Term Transport System Development Strategic Plan, which is in line with the SDG, has been implemented to enhance regional transport connectivity through planning, upgrading, and developing transport infrastructure network, as well as promoting the use of technology and intelligent transport system to move toward sustainable and smart transport system. Last year, Thailand, as an IMO Council member, was collaborating with the SCAP and International Maritime Organization to organize the regional workshop on UN Sustainable Development Cooperation on Framework, UNSDCF, in August 2019, and the second Asia Regional Knowledge Partnership Workshop on Maritime Technical Cooperation Activity in December 2019. This workshop provides a platform to exchange views on the maritime-related issue, which could be used as a basis for formulating maritime policy framework inconsistent with IMO for countries in Asia and the Pacific region. Over the year, Thailand has engaged in a number of activities organized by the Secretariat throughout the year. The project study report, meeting, especially capacity building workshop, help raise awareness, broaden understanding of transport-related issues, as well as provide recommendation to advance transport system in various thematic areas. For the final year of the Regional Action Program, Thailand would like to request the support from SCAP in continue assisting member states in organizing capacity building activity in the area of transport facilitation, intermodal transport corridor development, as well as improving road safety situation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, representative of Thailand, for your statement. Now I would like to invite Bangladesh, and after Tajikistan, we will try to connect one more time with Tajikistan. Please, Bangladesh.
Thank you, Madam. Bangladesh, with its excellent geographical location, is actively working to establish sustainable and reliable network in the country, as well as connectivity in the region. Our strategy is to upgrade the national highways into 4-lane with separate service lane on both sides and constructing 4-lane bridges, improve border access roads, seaport link roads, and integrate transport modes to facilitate cross-border traffic. We exceeded intergovernmental agreement on Asian highways in 2009, and with the 3 routes, our type 1 route is 341 and type 2 is 1430 kilometer. We have completed in Asian Highway 1 along 55 kilometer long Podda Bridge Expressway, and our ongoing project, which is our 6.15 kilometer long Podda Bridge, is almost visible now, and the last missing link 650 meter Kalna Bridge is going on, and we are constructing 70 kilometer stretch in Asian Highway 2 and 190 kilometer from Dhaka to Rangpur. And we have planned 286 kilometer long Dhaka Sylhet road also. And in the transition railway network, we have proposed one new route, that is the Benabal Joshon Norail Bhanga, and that route will reduce the distance, travel time, and operation and maintenance cost. For the operational of regional connectivity, I do agree with India that we signed BBI and motor vehicles agreement in 2015, and we are hopeful that it will work. We are working on that now. And we have some bilateral agreements with India also for transport connectivity for the landlocked areas. We we signed an agreement for the use of Chattogram and Mongla port with India for the benefit of the Northeast India, and already trial run has already occurred. And for sustainable urban transport, we have strategic action plan, and we have bus rapid transit and mass rapid transit. Now MRT line 6 and BRT line 3 is going on, and detailed design of MRT line 1 and 5 is ongoing. And for the road safety, we have taken many other initiatives. We have identified the accident-prone areas, including black spots, and we developed road safety issues, improving our 4-lane highways. And for reliability of Dhaka-Chattogram highway, we have introduced ITS, and we have enacted Road Transport Act with severe penalty for the improvement of the road safety. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your statement. Now we will try to connect with Tajikistan.
Hello, good morning. Are you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, thank you. Dear participant, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to, on behalf of Ministry of Transport of the Republic of Tajikistan, extend our thanks to the Secretariat of ESCAP for organizing today's meeting, which will allow us to discuss issues within the framework of cooperation in the field of transport between our countries, as well as to consider issues of future cooperation. The Ministry of Transport of the Republic of Tajikistan has been operating on the basis of prospective and constructive policy of the government of Tajikistan and the president leader of the nation, His Excellency Emomali Rahman, in implementing one of the strategic objectives of socio-economic development of the country, overcoming communication deadlock and transportation of the Republic of Tajikistan in the transit country by improving the condition of the sections of international and regional transport corridors passing within the territory of Tajikistan, such as Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation, CAREC number 3, 5, and 6, Asian highways. Asian highways is 7, 65, 66, and transport corridor Europe, Caucasus, Asia, Traska 23, 25, and 34 corridors. Therefore, in order to improve the condition of the country's transport infrastructure, currently established fruitful cooperation with development partners such as Government of Japan, the People's Republic of China, the United States, French, the Islamic Republic of Iran, in the Asian Development Bank, the World Bank, and so on. Thus, in close cooperation with development partners during the period of state independence in the Republic of Tajikistan, have implemented have been implemented 53 invest total amount of 1.8 billion US dollars. As a result, more than 2,180 kilometers of roads, 2,180
Your time's up. We can give you 30 minutes, 30 seconds more. Could you please finish your statement?
Okay. 240 bridges, 219 kilometers railways, about 31 kilometers of tunnels, and 22 galleries with a length of 3.5 kilometers, and a building of the passenger terminal in Dushanbe International Airport. The slides show and display more detailed information on implemented projects of the sector within corridors, Karek, Asian Highway, and Traska. It should be noted that majority of projects have been put into operation by high authorities of the Republic together with the management of development partners. All projects links Tajikistan with neighboring countries with whom the country has the border with Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and China. These projects have social futures and mainly are directed in the improvement of socio-economic development of overall region. One of the great achievement of the sector during the period of independence in the conditions of railway line Dushanbe Kulob Bokhtar section Wahdat Yavan, which includes construction of 3 tunnels with a length of 3,643 meters and 5 units of big and small bridges with the length of 582 meters. Construction of tunnels and railways bridge in the transport sector of the country is the first experience and specialists of Tajikistan during implementation of these projects obtained necessary experience which they can use.
I apologize, representative of Tajikistan. Your time's up, and maybe we could use your presentation for later on and I will inform Secretariat about placing this your statement online maybe. Thank you so much and for your wonderful presentation and statement. Thank you. Next, we have a Russian Federation. And could you please, I just want to remind you, no limit for that, limit time it's 3 minutes, please. Russian Federation, please.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, участники сессии, уважаемый председатель. Глубоководный и хорошо прикрытый штормовой порт Мурманск является перспективным портом для развития международных морских перевозок, в том числе по Северному морскому пути. В настоящее время активно развивается инфраструктура порта в соответствии с комплексным планом модернизации и расширения порта магистральной инфраструктуры на период до 2024 года. В настоящее время в морском порту Мурманск ведутся масштабные работы по ремонту и модернизации существующих гидротехнических сооружений, строительству новых терминалов. Ведутся гидротехнические изыскания в акватории по проектам строительства новых терминалов. В результате проведена реконструкция действующих, создание новых объектов портовой инфраструктуры, создание региональной транспортно-логистической системы и системы координации субъектов регионального транспортного рынка. Большое значение имеет реализация проекта комплексного развития Мурманского транспортного узла, целью которого является создание действующего круглогодично-глубоководного морского хаба, центра по переработке контейнеров, углеводородных грузов, интегрированный международный транспортный коридор. Также начал осуществляться план мероприятий по реализации инвестиционного проекта «Морской перегрузочный комплекс сжиженного природного газа в Мурманской области», через который будет обеспечиваться перевалка СПГ по Северному морскому пути. Вот в эксплуатацию этого перегрузочного комплекса намечен на 2022-2023 годы. До этого времени общество «Новатэк» планирует осуществлять перевалку СПГ на временных рейдовых перегрузочных комплексах. Незамерзающий глубоководный порт Мурманск – единственный порт европейской части России с коротким и удобным доступом в мировой океан. Отсутствие потребности в искусственных защитных сооружениях и ледокольном обеспечении в зимний период делает его наиболее привлекательным для судовладельцев и удобным для обслуживания крупнотоннажных судов. В порту базируются ледоколы, являющиеся гарантом беспрепятственного круглогодичного прохода торговых судов по трассам Северного морского пути. Из общего числа ледоколов 5 являются атомными ледоколами, преодолевающие 3-метровый лед. Порт Мурманск входит в десятку крупнейших портов России по объему перевалки грузов и является базовым портом по обеспечению перевозок по Северному морскому пути. Освоению Северного морского пути также будет
уже
способствовать...
2 минуты, у вас осталось 30 секунд. Пожалуйста, лимит времени у нас 3 минуты.
Спасибо. Освоению Северного морского пути также будет способствовать новейшие атомные ледоколы, которые способны не только прокладывать путь для грузовых судов, но и заходить в русло сибирских рек. Уникальное расположение Северного морского пути делает путь грузов из стран Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона в европейскую часть значительно короче. А расстановка ледоколов на трассах Северного морского пути делает доставку груза гарантированной. Значимость морских портов Арктического региона и роли Севморпути в развитии транспортной инфраструктуры в целом трудно переоценить. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you very much, representative of Russian Federation. Now I would like to invite Azerbaijan.
Hello. Good morning to all participants. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to UNESCO for arrangement of this meeting, and of course, my sincere congratulations to Bureau members. And now I will try to do my best in order to be as quick as possible in order to be on the track. Well, Azerbaijan, as the transport and transit policy of Azerbaijan as a landlocked country aimed at creating a new infrastructure and diversifying transport connection, using rational transit opportunities, and providing state support for transport projects. For this purpose, we have adopted a different states program, among which I have to note, first of all, the state roadmap for the development of logistics and trade of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan, in the regional scale, is initiated and active participants of a number of projects aimed at developing Eurasian transport links through the territory of the Caucasus region. Here, I have to mention that we are implementing a number of large-scale projects in order to develop and improve the competitiveness of 2 main transport corridors, west, east, and northern south. First of all, the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars Railway, which is commissioned in October 2017. This railway line serves to create a direct international links to expand intermodal transportation operation directly connecting the railway of European and Asia. Then Azerbaijan is a participant of INSTS projects. It's the North-South Transport Project. Just for your information, dear Mr. Chair and Representative, Azerbaijan fully completed its tasks within these projects. Then we have another project, regional importance, which has already implemented the new Baku International Sea Trade Port. In May 2018, the ceremony of completion of this first phase of construction was held. Today, this port is capable of serving ferries and ro-ro vessels. Of course, here we have to mention about I cannot go beyond the Coordination Councils on Transit Freight, which was established in of my country and take appropriate measures to eliminate obstacles to the development of transit freights. So far, I can say, for instance, the duty tracks of the ports of Aktau and Turkmenbashi were reduced by the work of this council by 40%. Here I have to say a few words about the Trans-Caspian International Transit Route, which runs through China, Kazakhstan, Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and further Turkey. At the end of this 2016, the International Association of Trans-Caspian International Transport Route was created. The association activity mostly aimed at attracting transit and foreign trade cargoes and developing integrated logistic products. Azerbaijan attached great importance to the development of road transport because this has become an essential part of economic development, and so far, over the past 10 years, the length of the road constructed and reconstructed and repaired in Azerbaijan stood at more than 10,000 kilometers. During this period, 307 new bridges, overpasses, and underpasses were created. At the last participants, just a few words that during the pandemic, of course, pandemic affected not only health crisis and disrupted the normal functioning of open market, and Azerbaijan, in the light of this pandemic situation as a regional hub of transport, responsibly treated its role in the pandemic and provides unhindered transit traffic through its territory. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, representative of Azerbaijan. And do we have any statement from the floor? Okay, I see none, and while a summary of the deliberation of and intervention of this item will be included in the chair, and that's why I would like to apologize of some representative who couldn't finish their statement, but Secretariat, they make sure your statement will be in summary. In conclusion, I will discount from on this item is that the committee, having reviewed the progress of in the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, Phase 1, 2017 to 2021, provided guidance on its remaining year implementation 2021. This brings us to the conclusion of discussion under agenda item 2. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to agenda number 3. Cross-cutting issues in transport. Sub-item A, transport connectivity for efficient and resilient supply chains, for which document ESCAP/CTR/2020/2 was made available through the ESCAP website. Under the agenda, the committee is also invited to take note of document ESCAP/CTR/2020/INF/3 circulated for the information of the committee at the request of the Russian Federation. Now I invite the Secretary to introduce the agenda items, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished participants, my name is Ajra Muzina Ducrest. It's my pleasure to introduce the agenda item 3A on transport connectivity for efficient and resilient supply chains and its precession document ESCAP/CTR/2020/2. Please note as mentioned by Chair that under this agenda item, the informal document number 3 reproduces the guidelines developed by the Ministry of Transport of the Russian Federation on measures to ensure the anti-epidemic safety on transport operation. Next slide, please. Dear colleagues, the document ESCAP/CTR 2020/2 covers 3 substantive areas: enhancing connectivity along the regional land transport network, linking Asia-Pacific to the global supply chains, and building back better, investing in resilience, and shift to sustainable freight. Based on this information, the committee is invited to discuss regional transport connectivity for supply chain efficiency and resilience against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic and provide the Secretariat with the guidance on those thematic areas. The informal consultation on these items were held on 27th October 2020, and I will refer to their results during my presentation. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, by way of introduction, the document recalls the link between transport connectivity and supply chains operations and discusses the impact of COVID-19 on Asia-Pacific connectivity. The information available to the Secretariat shows the great efforts made by the Asia-Pacific countries in keeping their land and maritime borders open for freight. At the same time, the document also details the pandemic's negative impact, expressed in increased costs and delays of transport operations, financial losses borne by the transport sector, and deepening connectivity gaps. Recognizing the importance of regional and global cooperation, the document highlights the relevant UN-wide initiative, such as the United Nations System-Wide Project on Transport and Trade Connectivity in the Age of Pandemics. During the informal consultations, the participants reaffirmed the vital role of regional transport cooperation and were of the view that specific collaborative initiatives should be taken up within the ESCAP regional mechanisms to enhance the transport sector's pandemic response and recovery. Next slide, please. Against this general background, as first substantive topic, the document focuses on the regional land transport network formalized by the intergovernmental agreements on the Asian Highway Network, the Trans-Asian Railway Network, and Agreement on Dry Ports. It highlights its continuous development, either by the extension of their geographic coverage, as can be seen in the Asian Highway Network, or by recent accessions and ratification to the agreement on the Trans-Asian Railways and Dry Ports, as we have heard under Agenda Item 2. The document elaborates on selected issues in the operational development of the regional land transport network. For the Asian Highway Network, the document reiterates the importance of addressing the operational connectivity issues through harmonization of technical standards. It also notes the importance of gradual and balanced approach with due regards to countries' divergent needs and capacities. The document further notes the observed challenges in coordinating the pandemic responses in road transport and shares some preliminary analysis by the Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, for the three networks, the Trans-Asian Railway, Asian Highway, and Dry Ports, the document underscores the potential for further digitalization and use of smart transport solutions. This holds particular significance for the Trans-Asian Railway Network, where electronic exchange of information, digitization, and smart rail solutions can increase the use of rail in freight operations. Likewise, along the Asian Highway Network and intermodal corridors involving dry ports, smart and digital solutions can bring gains in efficiency, resilience, and overall sustainability. For dry ports, the document details the needs to adopt a more holistic approach to their development and also highlights the ongoing initiative on facilitating intermodal and multimodal operations by improving their legal framework. During the informal consultations on this subject, the participants recommended enhancing efforts to further advance regional land connectivity along the three networks through further harmonization, as appropriate, of technical standards, improvement of legal frameworks, accelerated digitization and electronic information exchange, and other relevant measures. Next slide, please. The second substantive topic is linking the region to global supply chains. This includes promoting sustainable maritime connectivity, and in this regard, the document informs about the outcome of the last ESCAP Commission session and its Resolution 76/1, which calls for systematic regional dialogue on sustainable maritime connectivity. It also emphasizes the need for integrated approach to sustainable shipping and greater use of digital and smart technologies. The second area in this field is enhancing sustainable transport connectivity between Asia and Europe, as mandated by the ongoing Regional Action Programme. The document highlights the relevant activities, such as studies and expert meetings and forum discussions on institutional mechanisms to further support various initiatives on inter-regional connectivity. Finally, this section of the document underscores the situation of the countries with special needs and highlights the potential of enhancing the maritime connectivity of small island development states and, for landlocked developing countries, of implementing electronic transit transport system and rail corridor coordination mechanisms. Ladies and gentlemen, during the informal consultations on this topic, the participants highlighted the need to continue the efforts to enhance the region's position in the global supply chain by promoting sustainable maritime connectivity, intra-regional and interregional, providing a platform for regular exchange of information and identification of priority issues on transport connectivity between Asia and Europe, and addressing the needs of landlocked developing countries and small island development states. Participants also asked the Secretariat to continue attaching high priority to the thematic area of transport connectivity between Asia and Europe, encouraging wide stakeholder participation. Next slide, please. The third and last section of the document discusses the broad strategic issue of investing in resilience and shift to sustainable freight. It shares information on the country's priority for the recovery, which go in the direction of building back better. In this context, the document details the work by the Secretariat on enhancing shift towards sustainable freight transport in Asian Pacific by supporting national policies on sustainable freight and deepening regional cooperation on key issues in sustainable freight transport within the framework of ESCAP intergovernmental agreements. During the informal consultation, participants recommended supporting concrete regional and sub-regional initiatives on resilient and sustainable freight transport connectivity. They recommended reflecting the issue of transport connectivity for efficient and resilient supply chains and the challenges of sustainable freight policies in the next phase of the Regional Action Programme for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, under this agenda item and based on the information provided in the document, the committee may wish to discuss regional transport connectivity for supply chain efficiency and resilience against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic. Provide the Secretariat with guidance on the three thematic areas, including advancing regional land transport connectivity, enhancing the region's position in the global supply chains, and supporting concrete initiatives on resilient and sustainable freight and transport connectivity. Finally, the committee may wish to invite the Secretariat to reflect these issues in the next Regional Action Programme to be developed in 2021. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Janmurdina, for the introduction. And now I would like to invite comments on agenda item 3A. And I request again of all delegates to keep their intervention to no more than 3 minutes. Now I would like to invite a representative of Thailand, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, the distinguished delegate. Thailand would like to highlight our progress on the land transport infrastructure development to promote regional connectivity and achieve sustainable development goals. During the years, Thailand is undertaking an intensive improvement of land transport to facilitate development of road and railway network in the region. Majority of existing railway track has been renewed. The first phase of double track project in Thailand, covering about 993 kilometers, has been implemented with the concept of universal design. The new railway ride project of a total distance 628 kilometers are being carried out to improve rail transport connectivity within the country and with our neighboring country. In consideration of energy efficiency and environmental sustainability, Thailand is beginning to move toward electrification in national railway system. For road transport, Thailand is undertaking the development of information technology to enhance traffic flow. M4 has been introduced as a new toll correction system, which drivers pay toll while driving as a normal driving speed. Currently, the digitization has been employed in transport sector. For example, the implementation of National Single Window and SW system, which simplify the documentary requirements, procedure, and formality associated with arrival and departure of ship via a single electronic gateway in order to facilitate maritime traffic and provide efficient and environmentally sound shipping. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the NSW played a crucial role to resolve disruption in shipping while meeting the health and safety measure to minimize the transmission of COVID-19 among maritime personnel, as well as maintain the efficiency of maritime trade and transport. Thailand is committed to promoting the activity implemented under the Regional Action Program and continue to work closely with ESCAP and member states to achieve SDG and building a resilient and sustainable transport connectivity. The joint effort on the development in this area will certainly help contribute to success of the development of transport connectivity in this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, representative of Thailand. And now I would like to give a floor Uzbekistan, but first I would like to ask Russian Federation and Bangladesh, because we didn't get a request for the speech, but we could see from the list it was request before. Can you confirm, are you going to have a statement for now, after Uzbekistan, Russian Federation and Uzbekistan? Sukuda, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
Mongolia, Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Let me also congratulate you and thank for your skillful and effective conduct of our meeting today. Dear participants of the session, after the speech of our President of Uzbekistan at the 75th session of the UN General Assembly on September 23 this year, the Uzbekistan side has repeatedly stated, including here in UNESCAP, that for Uzbekistan, strengthening regional cooperation in the field of transport is a key priority for achieving sustainable development goals both in our country and for the Central Asia states as a whole. Uzbekistan pays much attention to the accelerated development of transport and transit potential, to the formation of an effective system of land communication in the region. We have actively supported the One Belt, One Road initiative, which offers wide-ranging prospects for strengthening regional and interregional connectivity. Today, Central Asia, as in the days of the Great Silk Road, can once again become a hub of trade, economic, and transport transit corridors between Europe and Asia. We welcome the launch of a new multimodal transport corridor, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and are in favor of speeding up the development of projects for the construction of a railway along this road. We also propose to join efforts in shaping an integrated network of dry ports, logistics, and wholesale distribution centers within the framework of Belt and Road Initiative. Suggestions to create new transport corridors linking the railroad systems of Central and South Asia are of great importance. This would seal the overland transport system of the Eurasian continent. Dear participants, as I mentioned, at the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Uzbekistan came up with a proposal to establish a regional center for transport and communication connectivity under the auspice of United Nations. The idea of establishing a regional center is that the Central Asian region should become a strong subject of interregional trade and economic processes and participate in the shaping the agenda in this direction. We'll look forward to the active support of this initiative by our partners, especially UNESCAP, our neighboring countries, donor states, and actors, as well as other international institutions. And I ask you that information about the initiative of Uzbekistan be reflected in the final report of this session. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Representative of Uzbekistan. Now I am giving floor to Russian Federation, please.
Благодарю вас, госпожа председатель. Развитие евроазиатской транспортной связуемости является одним из приоритетов региональной программы действий, и мы поддерживаем усилия ЭСКАТа по обсуждению вопросов, связанных с организацией этих перевозок, с учетом современных требований и особенностей. Считаем важным в том числе рассматривать и вопросы передовых технологических решений, аспекты, касающиеся цифровизации и мультимодальных перевозок. На что здесь полагаем обратить целесообразно внимание? На реализацию практических проектов в области транспорта. С нашей стороны это проекты, которые касаются мультимодальных перевозок, это Интертран, вопросы дорожного хозяйства, Платон, электронные цифровые пломбы, которые используются для транзитных перевозок. Разработку мультимодальных правовых рамок. Этот проект также напрямую связан с евроазиатскими перевозками, а также с перевозками в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе трансграничные и представляет из себя большую важность. Кроме того, хотел бы отметить, что в условиях, связанных с пандемией COVID-19, Министерство транспорта Российской Федерации вышло с инициативой о возможном большем задействовании возможности железнодорожного транспорта для международных перевозок. Усиление внимания к вопросам перевозки грузов и почт, прежде всего в контейнерах, уже дало свои практические результаты, и несмотря на существующие ограничения, благодаря усилиям, принимаем на национальном и на международном уровне, благодаря взаимодействию с нашими партнерами, перевозки растут даже в существующей ситуации. Еще один момент, на который хотел бы я обратить внимание, это решение группы по сухим портам, которое у нас было принято в прошлом году. В частности, эта группа говорила о том, что целесообразно рассматривать вопросы цифровизации, вопросы евроазиатских транспортных связей, вопросы более эффективного взаимодействия в сфере мультимодальных перевозок и логистики. Мы считаем особенно важным, в том числе и в нынешних условиях, поддержать эту инициативу и рекомендовать рабочей группе по сухим портам продолжить эту работу, привлекать при необходимости представителей экспертного, отраслевого сообщества, научного сообщества обязательно, а также наших партнеров из международных организаций по согласованию со странами-членами СКАТ. Считаем важным усилить работу, которую мы сейчас оценим как эффективную, но с учетом важности обеспечения бесперебойного транзита мы полагаем, что это по-прежнему остается нашим приоритетом. Спасибо.
Thank you, representative of Russian Federation. Now I would like to give a floor to representative of Mongolia.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me congratulate you, Madam Chair, on your election as a Vice Chair of this sixth committee. I wish to highlight the vital important role being played by the UNESCO in catalyzing mutual understanding and collaboration among member states towards strengthening regional economic cooperation and ensuring sustainable development of the transport sector in Asia and the Pacific. For a landlocked nation like mine, the accession to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asian Highway Network, Trans-Asian Railway Network Agreement, as well as Trilateral Intergovernmental Agreement on road transportation along the Asian Highway Network serve as a significant precondition for coordinating its planning efforts of its road and railway infrastructure, as well as the implementation thereof in coordination with the regional transport cooperation initiatives. Indeed, while these legal instruments, together with the Asian Highway and Trans-Asian Railway Network and dry ports of international significance, are well placed to facilitate the development of an international integrated intermodal transport and logistics system in Asia and Pacific, further efforts are needed to maximize the connectivity benefits to improve the performance of regional and global supply chains, especially in these challenging times of global pandemic. However, despite these initiatives and projects, as well as increasing national investments in transport infrastructure, we are still witnessing development gaps across member nations, with many countries in need to make additional efforts to fill the existing gap. One of the challenges that the developing countries face is the issues of investments. Large-scale infrastructure projects with investment driven by transport policy goals that are integrated with sectoral development objectives should be based on socio-economic cost-benefit assessment. We are all aware that landlocked countries' goal is to increase cooperation in areas such as infrastructure, transport, trade port, cities, and free trade zones, as well as strengthening regional economic integration. As landlocked country, which finds itself in further enhanced connectivity to the regional transport networks, Mongolia is striving to contribute to the regional economic integration and realization of the ESCAP initiatives by putting forward as a proposal for construction of new highway corridor directly connecting our two neighbors. Thus, we are working with our partner on the feasibility study on the project and are grateful for the Secretariat for the consideration of our initiatives to help in the process, which we believe will be essential in drawing the attention of the investors. Finally, as the trade volume continues at balanced level despite the pandemic, the enhanced transport networks in our region, we believe, would contribute to the increased freight and passenger turnover, offering shorter connection from Asia to Europe, as well as reduced costs and improved safety. In order to further enhance regional cooperation, reduce transit barriers, facilitate trade, as well as ensure safe and important transport, further steps should be including enhanced cooperation and facilitating trade, transportation, customs, taxation, and insurance in Asia and Europe. Further simplification, harmonization, standardization, and modernization of trade procedures, including customs, border authorities, and business organizations. Facilitating in attracting investments in transport infrastructure projects, especially in developing countries, by supporting in the design of the socio-economic cost-benefit assessment of such projects, tailored to the national and regional context for economic development, as well as linked to the national and regional policy goals. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And now I would like to give floor to representative of Sri Lanka. And as you can see, it's now almost 12 o'clock, and probably we will have last statement before lunch. Then we have a break from 12 till 2, and a representative of Turkmenistan, Timor-Leste, and Bangladesh, we will start afternoon at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka recognizes and appreciates the efforts of the UNESCAP in improving the performance of regional connectivity to make it a strong backbone for cost-effective supply chain to facilitate international trade and particularly to support countries in their pandemic response mechanism as an integral part of recovery strategies. As a state party to the agreements of the Asian Highway Network and Trans-Asian Railway Network, and as a signatory to the Dry Port Agreement on International Importance, Sri Lanka wishes to reiterate its commitment to realize the core objectives of these agreements. The national policy document of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, is focused on new approach of the government in national spatial system, including developing roads, highway transport, and ports to make the country an international logistic hubs in Asia. Among Sri Lanka's priorities in developing infrastructure for sustainable freight transport, greater focus has been placed to improve road networks, which is also part of Asian Highway Network. Developing ports to facilitate import and export while ensuring higher efficiency, competitiveness by expanding facilities required to transport cargo via trains to Colombo, Hambantota, Kankasanture and Trincomalee ports, and developing harbors according to the requirement of the demand to improve the national economy is a priority agenda for Sri Lanka. It is noteworthy that Paliagoda and Telangapatha areas have already been identified as potential dry ports in Sri Lanka by studies conducted under the auspices of UNESCAP. Given the strategic location of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean, the government has made considerable efforts to improve the capacities of Colombo Port as a transshipment hub. The work on sustainable transportation rests well within the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, in particularly Goal 9, Resilient Infrastructure, Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, and Goal 13, Climate Action, and undoubtedly helps countries like Sri Lanka to effectively bounce back in improving the country's supply chain and also to provide logistical services of international standards in more competitive manner. Sri Lanka appreciates the technical support and close collaboration by the Transport Division of the UNESCAP in developing national strategies for deepening and sustainability in the freight transport and has expressed its wish to join as a pilot country to carry out national assessment with a view to adopt the recommendations in enhancing sustainability for freight transport in the decade of action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, representative of Sri Lanka. Now 12 o'clock, we will have a break till 2 o'clock. Please, I'll see you at 2 o'clock. Thank you.